as I'm preparing to move forward here. I want you to ask that question, and I just want to make it a point with you. I'm a good teacher. Just ask me on what I was teaching. But that's what I normally do in church. So you can ask me about whatever it is. You can hold me accountable. Hold me accountable for what I say, I teach, I preach. And if you think I'm biblical, you should be like the Bereans, they held Paul accountable. I mean, if they held Paul accountable, where am I? All right. I just want to have that 1 or 2 questions before. It's a short session I'm going to have. I've had the time, thank you. They're very political. They're very political.
Yes, they don't just want to join things. They ask themselves a lot of questions.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why when they take a decision, if ever it's a decision to go to church, they go for that.
I hear you. You want to respond to that? Why men shy away from church? You think?
I think one of the other things is also what is being presented.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear
because
you.
I would want to do things that resonates with me.
I hear you.
Talk to me, then yeah, I'll follow you.
Okay.
Like last night,
Right.
I want to become that man.
I hear you.
So I'm going to come back tomorrow. Paul, we want you to elaborate on what you said.
I see.
And men.
Anyone would like to add on that?
Amen, my daughter.
Amen.
Yeah. Pastor Zamisa, I think one of the things men, they don't want to sit down and get judged.
I see.
Yeah. That's the most important one. They don't want to be judged.
I see.
Yeah, they just want to do things.
Yeah. I get you. Last response? Last response? Oh, there's another hand that is coming up. Okay, 1, 2, and then the last. Okay.
Mina, on my own view, I think the main problem it's because of our spiritual forces that has been holding up men.
Right.
Because sometimes umuntu bounded spiritually,
Yeah.
it's impossible to release him physically. That's why most of us, because of our background, we are from serious altars that was always holding us back until Christ came. I think one of the most things that has captured many men, it's because of those altars. I'm one of them. I once visited even in prisons. Sometimes when we communicate with them, you can sense a lot of spirits that they are really fighting against. And some of them, you see, like preaching to them, sometimes they are being convinced by the word, but only to find out this man, like, he is really willing to be a follower of Christ, but something has captured him.
So it's spiritual bondage. What is the last one? Last one.
Thank you. I'll put two because I wanted to ask another one. I'm Ronald Banda and I'm a teacher like you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the first one that I want to say is very sensitive. Do you see when you go to church, who dominates? It's women. So I believe one is it Edco, we talked about men, men with network. So men are not finding their role like you are a preaching pastor. So that's where they need it. When you move from home, it's women who are in charge. You go to school, it's women who are in charge. You covered when you are in the farm. When you get to church, it's women who are in charge. So that's you said it before. So that's what so men are. They find there's no title and they're becoming irrelevant. Thank you. Then the second one I put like question. I think I will share with Pastor Mboshman. I think Pastor, since we met in the farm there, you said something which I see every day. And then we have a serious problem. When you they've disappeared. So men are not disappearing only from church, they disappear even from their homes. So I thank you, Pastor, for the pastors who are here to say, let's take this issue seriously. And if we can have a conference, let's make it an international conference so that we can assist men. Thank you.
Wow.
I think these are serious inputs. You like writing, or writing likes you. So you should be compiling some of these things so that they can be dealt with, so that we can say, how do we deal with these discrepancies? One more, now, it's very important. We cannot afford to have talk shows that yield nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Well, some of us have done that for quite too long. But at our age, we don't want to hand an empty baton to those that come behind us. You know, we are here. You know, we don't want to do that. Maybe I can add one other reason. There is somebody that wrote, said, you know what? Most of our churches, the messages are aimed at women. They are more of, they appeal to the feelings. They appeal to the feelings. Mostly our messages are, they appeal to women more than they will ever appeal to men. I'll make an example. It says, you know what, if you preach about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, if there's a man that comes to church for the first time, and there are women that are coming to church for the first time, and he says, by the time the preacher finishes explaining how Jesus was flogged, so some women are crying already. And men want to know, then what? Now, you, at the end of the church service, you find a whole lot of emotionally satisfied women with frustrated men. It's like, I cannot just come and tell me about somebody who was flogged and then what? Where do I come into the picture? What is that? You know? They'd rather come to a business session than the church. For a lot of men, church does not make sense. Honestly, for a lot of men, and I understand that. I understand. You raised a very critical issue. And it's going to bring me to the beginning of sharing. There is conspiracy against men. You might not see it. There's conspiracy. There's conspiracy. You might not see it if you don't really look at it with a penetrating eye and a perceptive eye. Man has been a target from the beginning. When the enemy came to Eve, it was not about Eve. No. The enemy was looking for a doorway. It was not about Eve. It was never about Eve. When the enemy said, did God really say? It was not about Eve. Why did it say so? I cannot afford to lose her. I'd rather die with her. That was the rationale behind it. Because he could have abstained. He could have said, hey, Eve, you're done. You're done, you're done. But for a man, oh, what this is the bone of my bones, this is what I said, I can't dissociate. He knew what loneliness was like. But he also knew what his life had become together with Eve. Oh, they are, see. The Bible says so. That's why Paul would say, Adam was not deceived. Now, I want you to see it, how it ties up with what Christ did. Oh, Adam laid down his life for his wife. In the same way as Christ would lay down his life for the church. You understand? That's why he is the second Adam. You needed a man to destroy, but you needed another man to restore. That's why he was the second Adam. So it's about man. It's about man. There's conspiracy against man in every way. Now, when I get jail and I'm going to check out OT, how many prisoners are there? The male versus the female. Last time I checked, when I was still in prison, working there, it was, women were just about 3% of what men were. 2 or 3%. But also the bias against men. You know, you cannot, once a woman can say you attempted to rape her, you cannot prove yourself innocent. You can't. If a woman says, he attempted, not rape, he attempted, yes, he attempted to rape me, you are in prison, literally. We've got a whole lot of men who are in prison, but not committed rape. They have not committed the rape that they have been charged with. Well, at a later stage, we've had some women coming to apologize. You know, there's some kind of extortion. Man is key in all of this. Let me take you to the Old Testament. God is beginning a nation that is currently in Egypt. Moses is born. But he is born during a period where the Pharaoh that was ruling at the time had become skeptic. Oh, these people are growing. And one day they will overpower us and take our land. What does he do? He orders that all males must be exterminated. He orders that. Now there's one conspiracy against male. Now if you were a sociologist, for instance, and check on what an imbalance that created, it means all the female counterparts that were born would be without people that could marry them in future, because the boys would have been killed. You know, you must check the imbalance that is created by the wars and I said to my wife as I was talking, I said, the world is ripe for polygamy. Yes. I mean, the world is ripe. Take, for instance, how many men since the beginning of the war in Ukraine, how many men have been exterminated? Now, these are many of them. Young girls, women, and children, they ran away, they were allowed to go away. What about these girls? You create an imbalance by killing men. It becomes a desperate situation for women. Is it Isaiah 4? Is it Isaiah 4 that says, in that day, in that day, we are in that day. In that day, 7 women will come to one man and will say what? Yes, we'll provide for us. You don't have to, I mean, we are in the era where women can provide for themselves. And they do, you know. The world is ripe for polygamy, is ripe. Even the Western countries, I suspect, will legalize polygamy because of scarcity of men. Now, men, you know, they are becoming more and more, right? Let me say, sound men become more and more endangered species. They're becoming more and more of an endangered species. That's conspiracy. We see that conspiracy. But we also see at the birth of Jesus Christ, Herod, he orders for the extermination of what? Of boys. He orders for the extermination of boys, and a whole lot of boys are killed, looking to kill or hoping to kill the king that was born. The target again was me. You look into Africa in our time, the Ethiopian genocide, a whole lot of men were killed there. All I'm trying to say to you guys, I'm saying, there is a conspiracy against men. There are problems that need sound men out of the way before they can continue.
Oh, yeah.
There are problems that require sound men out of the way before they can continue. An absent man from home is a symptom and not a cause. The taking over of churches by women is a symptom, not a cause. You know, Mickey Hardy, last week, if you watch that, see CTMI. There's a conference I attended in Mauritius, this was the last week. He says, we are in the era where women are taking over the church. They're turning things upside down so that what God began with can be overturned. They're turning God's program on its head. It is not a coincidence that that these things are happening. You've got to kill men before you can have everything else. 2, right now, who are dying of nyaope, dying of drugs, dying of all of these? These are men. Many of them don't really die. They're dead alive. They're dead alive. You know, get men out of the way so that there can be an excuse by the extreme feminist agenda to say men are useless. Yazifundisho le mara ngifuna English. All right, please. It's an agenda. When a man is absent from home, then a woman can take over. When a man is absent from church, then a woman can take over. You understand? When a man is not where he's supposed to be, okay, somebody put it this way. He said, when God is not in his place, man becomes misplaced. No. Man becomes out of place. And his wife becomes misplaced. And his children become displaced. When God is not in place. Now, it's an alignment. You see, when you distort the alignment, you distort the outcomes. You cannot take God out of his place and get everybody in his place. It does not happen. If God is not there. You see, to put it this way, Jesus does not occupy a second position in anybody's agenda. He is either first or not there. He is not begging to be with us. That's why I seek you first. He is the first entity. If he's not the first in our decision, in other words, confronted with decisions of our daily lives, if they don't take into consideration what God is saying about those decisions, then God is not in his place. If God is not in his place, man gets out of place, his wife gets misplaced, and the children get displaced. Now, there are statistics we normally say numbers don't lie. If you consult our statistics, I didn't want to bore you with a lecture of President. I want to talk this. Statistics can show you, more than 70% of men who are in prison are men who were raised without fathers. They were raised by single women. I've heard a number of women saying men are useless, right? And men are trash. And at some stage it became a trending something. Men are. I'm going to ask you something that is very, not just sensitive, but it's very critical. And I'm going to ask you, if the boys that were raised by their mothers without their fathers have the greater propensity to become criminals and end up in jail, I agree, it makes their father there. I agree. But what does it say about the mom? Many times, I know, many times, a lot of women, not all, they play victim so they can avoid accountability. You play victim so you can, let me make an example. Here's a girl who has been raped at 1 o'clock at night, from the shebeen. And then the news comes. In the morning, a girl has been raped, blah, 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 blah. We are going to look for a rapist. That is wrong. We don't want anybody raping anybody. We're going to look for the rapist. We're going to talk about the rapist. We're going to hold that rapist accountable. But who holds this girl accountable? Where were you getting to at that time? What did you want in the streets at that time? I know they would say, I can just go wherever I want. Look, you know, even as we don't get there, we know it's dangerous. And they insist that they have a right to be there.
Yeah.
That's reckless thinking. Normally, a number of women play victim so as to avoid accountability. There is some kind of politics. I went in politics. I remember one year some guys were accused of having the aspirations of becoming a president. I was an ANC. They were accused of, in the media, were accused of having aspirations of being president. And so they were confronted by the media, said, we understand you have aspirations of becoming a president. Now they had to say publicly, said, no, I don't have. They are simply stopping them from, you know. There was nothing like there was aspiration. They were stopping them from doing it. Now there is something like that also happening with women. If she wants something, not all of them, if she wants something, she'll accuse you of not doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so you can do this. And these are very, 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 very important. The games they play, you know, there are bad men out there, and the bad things that happen. But it does not absolve women completely. Raping of children is out of question. It's just out of question. And a number of related issues. But all I'm saying is, man is the target. There are programs that cannot go forward in the presence of godly men. They just can't. They just can't. So you've got to get this man out of the way. In the same way as the enemy got the men out of the way in order to get the rain. You understand? Yes. In order to get he knew he could only get dominion by getting men to compromise. Almost everything that we're doing, everything that is going wrong, most of what is going wrong is doing so with the compromise of man. When man compromises, things go wrong. Now, there's a woman who once said to her husband, now they were in a therapy session. Now the counselor is asking her, said, what are you about today? What happened? Indoda yake 18. She fought against me for nothing. But we were driving and we were supposed to turn at a particular street. And I did not turn because I was looking at the traffic. And she started with some kind of verbal diarrhea. But then I stopped talking. I stopped talking. Now this woman is what I said, this man is not talking to me. I said, he's not talking to me. Now the counselor says, you don't win again. You want not even fight against a woman. You want her. Now, it's like when you win, but also Nagakushaya bathi, oh, ungashaya you direct. So you don't win. There's no way you win. Now, this woman would say, I know I shouted at him. And now I'm angry. You angry about what? Oti, I know what I was getting out of hand. I just needed him to stop me. I needed him to stop me. Just to stop me, to say, you are getting out of hand. And he kept quiet. You can't win. You can't win. And it's true. But with a whole lot of things that are said outside here, you're not sure if this constitutes some kind of an abuse or something. When you say, wait, whoa, just keep quiet. All right. There's conspiracy against man. It's so subtle. There's conspiracy to silence your voice in a number of ways. What happens is, I don't minimize the abuse of women and children. I don't minimize it. It's just that one man far away rapes a child. Then it gets into all the papers. Then it gets spoken of throughout the week. It's no longer one man. It's man. Yes. Then it becomes a problem. We don't hear anything good about men. I wanted to phone a certain registration. Guys, you are deliberately targeting the negative. And men cannot be encouraged to do right by feeding them the negative. Father's Day, can you call on people who have good fathers to call you? Good fathers. To say, I've had a good father. There's one lady who refused to say, men are trash. You know what she said? She said, my father is not trash. My brothers are not trash. We are not responsible for your wrong choice. We're not. These things are true, but when there is no balance, man is directly or indirectly targeted. There is a conspiracy against the man. It's so subtle. You might not see. One year, this little girl, I think she was 12, 13, she had a boyfriend. Around about 8:30, goes out of the window, meets her boyfriend. Kanti ubawakhe uzofika uzongena ekamereni. Nangena uthola ukuthi akekho. Check the window is open. He closed the window. Isikhathi esithize, this little girl comes. Told her the window is closed and she knows exactly. Then she knocked at the door. This girl ran to the police station. We understand ukuthi wena uqoshe nomntwana. I think lo baba wathi, hey, hamba la uyela la ubuya khona. And they reminded this man about the children's right. But a child has got the right to accommodation, right to provision, a right to do. So if you violate, now there's a new man in the house, right? 12-year-old girl can now commit abortion without your consent, without even you knowing. You make some noise, she can take you to court. She can take you to court. There's a new man in the house. Now, the erosion of the influence and that which can be contributed by a man in bringing and raising up morally upright children, that is being eroded from time to time. But all of these are targeting men. They're targeting men. In a way, not completely, but you look at this again. Because the Bible requires that we also provide for our families, right? Now, for some reason, we can't provide for our families. Now, there's another man that provides for you. Now, there's another man that is there. It's so subtle. You can't see it coming. But there's a new man. With men out of the way. In program, I think more than other program a new age. If you ever sit down and inform yourself in program a new age with Miranda, it requires godly men out of the way. So it does. I left that story hanging. The boys raised by single mothers likely to end up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It makes that man who did not participate in the raising of his boys, it makes him a bad man. And he's very irresponsible. But if statistics are able to say so, it means man is necessary to raising a child that could have equal or substantially, how could I put it? Substantial chances of being an upright person. Man is necessary for that. Now, but because men are targeted, that is deliberately formed in a negative way. Irresponsible men, nobody says a woman was never designed to raise a boy to become a man. A woman, generally, they will counteract that. Generally, women were not meant to raise men. Raising babies. Raising babies if they can. They have that. But there comes a time when men must step in so that a man can call out a man from this boy. A woman cannot do that. That is why, raised by a woman only, chances of this boy being deviant are very great. You understand that?
Yeah.
Now, how should that be framed? How should that be framed? You can't, depending on what your agenda is. Now, because there is an agenda that is aimed at men, so irresponsible men and blah, 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 I agree. How do I want us to frame this? I want us to say, because of what the statistics are saying, with a man that is absent, it tells us that there is no family that can be completely what it should be without men. It tells us we are necessary. We can respond to that. We can respond to a thing that says, in the equation of raising children, men are necessary. Because statistics would tell you that a girl, they say, what do we talk about? You know, statistics say if a girl child is raised without a father or a father figure, she is likely to engage in sexual activities very early in her life. We was born say like even previously, not because she wants sex, because she wants a father figure. You know? Now the absence of a father can render this little girl vulnerable. What does it tell us? It tells us that men are necessary. Amen. It tells us that men are necessary. We are able to respond to such a message than the message of Christ. Men are necessary, are very, very necessary. If our states almost throughout the world, the freshest statistics we can only get from, I could only get from the US, but even some 4 or 5 years back, they're almost similar, even in South Africa. Young men, a whole lot, more than 70% of young men who are in prison are angry with their fathers. They say, if my father was there, if my father was there, I could have been a better person. If my father, because there is something in a boy that longs for another man. Yes. Yes. There's something in a boy that longs for that. He wants to see somebody he should be like. He wants to see that. It's like, at the risk of diverting, it's like the power of our firstborns. It's like the power of firstborns at home. A firstborn is very powerful at home. Very powerful. I'm telling you. Now, if firstborn is sound, you know, if firstborn is almost co-parenting. He's almost co-parenting because our siblings, they talk more to the firstborn than they will talk to you. The parents. The influence of the firstborn is very powerful. Okay. How about now? I want us, by the time we go out here, because there are statistics, you can go on the internet, you can find, because there are statistics that tell us the negative outcomes of being absent as a father. Because we have those statistics. What does it tell us? It tells us things cannot go right without us. We are necessary. If somebody would tell me I am necessary in this equation, I'm likely to respond than somebody telling me I am just trash. I'm likely to respond. If somebody said, you know what, this process needs you so much, it can't bear its maximum output without you. You are variable. This process needs you. I believe that's the message that men need to hear. That we are necessary. But because there is a sinister agenda You must paint men The Bible is readily there. The Bible is readily there. Men don't know that they need the church. And the church needs men. We've got to correct a few things in church. And make I got a full example. We are going to get a son training. Now, we are so trained to look at the son of the Namakas at the son of Senate execution like a woman. So it's in a way that makes it just nice and awkward for me. You know. The next thing, they don't want to do that. Many of them. Now, especially and then what is this? Now, it's trying to process that, you know. It doesn't make sense. You know. It doesn't make sense. But because we just want to create an atmosphere. We create an atmosphere. Then there is for the first time. He's lost. He's lost. He's trying to make sense with it. And then he wanted to remember what Peter but Peter saw 80. It's their territory. Now, for the first time, he says, I'm a name. Honestly, but you know for this, I can tell you. The men in church that came and stayed, they are likely to have stayed because of the word. More friends. Sometimes music, good music, you know. But they want something they can understand. Why am I here? Because a whole lot of men are thinking we are more of logic. We live more in our minds than in our emotions. You know. So you can sing whatever tells you, I'm getting. I don't say it's wrong. Yeah. That's no college. Baba Pizza. All right, that's fine. I remember the first time we were talking. Let's hear. Let's see. It's too lost. Amadoda afuna into they can be involved in. And the word involves them. When you tell them, you know what? You know how God sees you. You know what He designed you for. For the first time, you know about. He has lost himself in a number of things. There's one thing that can occupy the whole of man, and it's the will of God. You know, yes, that's the will of God. That's one thing that can occupy the whole of man. To a point from worship, he longs for nothing else. He doesn't long for Utwala, he doesn't long for anything because he does not long for all of these things. Because his God is big enough to occupy the whole of him. Amen. You know? That's very important. I think that some of the things we need to look at. We need to look at. The ratio, I call that, okay, for long moves like, in that, kila masan ko washa the mason. But in the kila masan langa. Kona, apa tu tamadi, na kae, na say, different reasons. There are different reasons, and I'm not getting there right now. I'm getting to a close. I'm getting to a close. During this men's month, an encouraging word is God has good intentions.
Yes.
He has good intentions about us. He is there to raise us to become that which He ordained us to be. That's exactly. Now, you see, when you are born, you become that person. No. Let me use this. I don't remember who this actor is who said, looked at this young man. He said, young man, when I look at you, I see who you are. But I also see who you can be.
Okay.
These two people one day must meet.
Wow.
Yes. Now, God calls you what you are not yet.
Yes.
He gives you a title that you are not occupied yet. And then He tells you, you've got to deserve the title. Yes. You've got to become. You've got to become. Then a man can live purposely that I am being raised to fill in, to deserve that which I have been called. What do you call it? You know, once you can identify something, you can also, let's take a car. When you tell me that this car is a Tata Indica 1.4, you're describing it to me. I can tell you what its strength is. Because you told me, you described it. Yes, I can tell you what it can do and what it can't do. So once you are described, defined, you will learn to know what your capacity is. You will know what your capacity is. Let God define it. The word is there. Let God define it. He starts by saying, you know what? You were raised. You were born. You are firstborn as men. You are firstborn as men. You have a particular responsibility. You've got to head up something. Now He defines, He tells you the scope of work. Now to be, when God, I know a whole lot of, okay, let me not go there. Let me not go there. But if somebody tells me that I'm being raised to be a king, that person has made a whole lot of ease in terms of choice.
Yeah.
It helps me the choice of friends. It helps me with the choice of friends. It helps me with the choice of places I will go to. Because I'm being raised to occupy a particular. Now, if you can Google and check how children in the royal family are raised.
Yeah.
They are raised differently. There are laws. There's a way in which they are raised. They are not raised as commoners because they are raised to represent the royalty. Now, for royalty, there's higher expectation, there are demands. Royalty demands more than just what any other situation would be. You know. Now, when The world has got now, to the church, the world has got the right to expect from us that which it does not expect from the world, because we said we are royalty.
Yeah.
We said we are kings and priests. So the demand and expectation is hard. We cannot be raised like commoners. We cannot be raised like people without destiny. We've been told we've been raised ahead. We've been told we're raised to be responsible. Now it becomes easier once we have been given the destination of our capacity. We can be able to work towards that right now. We can begin to put the puzzles together. You don't grow up like a fool. Young men. I'm closing, I know. Young men, the Bible is very dangerous. It's right, it's dangerous. There's dangerous scripture I'd like to give you as young men. In life, there's nothing like you got away with it. Life does not allow it. The Bible says, ngabo bonke ungakanani abamazulu enifuna ukuthi abantu benze njani bawenze kini qedelela wenzeni nani kanjalo ngokuba lowo yini kungumthetho nani nabaprofeti, the law of the prophet. So that which you want people to do to you, you do that. You know that law? You know what the implication is? The implication is what you are doing, you are telling the world what you want to be done to you. To be mindful of what you are doing as a young man, it's a planting and reaping process. You cannot reap what you did not plant. But look, the Bible tells us to walk circumspectly. Circumspectly, that's how Paul would put it. You are young people. You cannot mess up. This is what I normally say. Every young girl, you should regard that young girl as somebody's future wife. So don't mess up with other people's future wife. You are sowing for yourself, so that your future wife is protected. So you do unto others as you want to be done unto you. That's how a king is raised. That's how a head is raised. You know, our mothers should be saying, and our fathers should have been saying, hey, a king does not do that. Hey, a head does not do that, does not behave like that. Remember, you are royalty. Remember, you are his. They have to be taught. Somebody had to tell us who we are. And remind us from time to time who we are as men. As men, the Bible says, man is the glory of God. Yes. And it will say a woman is the glory of man. Yeah. To remind yourself from time to time. Yes, yes. To remind ourselves from time to time who we are. So that in the midst of many things that are crushing us, we still can walk. And walk straight. The greatest challenge, I normally say in church, the greatest challenge we have, if you are a disciple of Christ, if you are a follower of Christ, the greatest challenge is to walk straight on a skew well. That's the great. The world is skewed. The plane is not straight. You can fall at any time. And God calls us walk straight. Let me show you what the enemy has done. I don't know what you're going to do about this. I don't know what you're going to do about this, because it is true. Many things cannot be reversed, but I think women should also think about this and how they mitigate the damage. In the Garden of Eden, punishment, what was the woman's punishment? Painful death. Punishment for men? It was never said of a woman that she would live with the son of Abraham. It was never said. But that's what they're doing now. It was never said to a woman that you will live by the sweat of your brow. It was never. It was said to others. And I was it was never said. To a woman it was said, painful. But a woman has taken two on herself. It's taken that which deny the painful birth, but also the sweat of her brow. That's why. Because they live with the sweat of the brow. They want to be men. The world is raising women that want to be men. Generally. Good luck, you never financially tight and blue shark. They raised me men. It is true. I think it should be a point of discussion to say, how do you mitigate this? How do you mitigate this? Yes, how can we mitigate the damage? Umgan was never ever told. Umgan was never told that. Women were never told that. But that's exactly where they are. And because they are doing what man is doing, they demand to be heads too. You understand? Makes sense. Bobani, who can attest to this? Over the Ekaya is the problem here. Submission, the problem here. Yeah. You could. We're not there, but these have been designed deliberately. The women should understand that it was not part of their punishment in the Garden of Eden. So that even if they work, they must understand how to mitigate that.
Yeah.
Because the mere, living with the sort of by merely doing that, they would demand the rights or the authority of the one who was told to live by the sweat of his brow. The enemy has confused the world. That is why, Tina, we've got to be people of the book. We've got to know the word, love the word, obey the word, become who God says we are. And we know who he says we are. He's got good intentions with us. And I love God with all of my heart.
Oh, yes.
All of my heart. I love God with all of my heart. What I wish our girls should understand is who they are. Who God says they are. So that we can begin to form collaboration instead of antagonism. At the moment, it's a battle of sexes. But the Bible solves it so beautifully. And you can see I am going to end here for this. I have said things, almost everything I have said demands a dialogue. And I hope with you people who listen to this, I know you'll agree, you disagree with some of these things, and you will, but engage it. Because let's hear it. What am I saying to fellow men? We are necessary. We are very necessary. Is it in Malachi la uNkulunkulu athi? John will come first. To what? To turn the hearts of what? Of fathers to what? To their children. And the hearts of children to what? Lest, if that does not happen, God says, I will destroy this one. Now, this was or is the ministry that is gender-based. To turn the hearts of the, as it is not woman to do that. To turn the hearts of fathers to their children. So it was the ministry of Elijah. A ministry of Elijah. To turn the hearts of fathers to their children. In other words, it's another seminar. Turning the hearts of fathers to the children. And the hearts of children to their fathers. Now, if men don't do it, God does not take women as a substitute. No, yes. He is not taking women as a substitute. He said if men don't do it, we are necessary.